Well, hello, this is Mike again, and welcome to the Homeless Educator. Every day since December 7th, every single day I've been laying down an interview and a conversation regarding topics in education and some of the conditions of living out on the streets while still providing 26,000 students from around the world free education, both in elementary as well all the way up through higher ed. I want to talk about what's foundational about learning, the research that's out there, not just on Google, but I mean literally in educational research. In fact, it goes back centuries. In fact, Confucius once said, or was attributed to him, "Tell me and I will forget, involve me and I will remember." Basically, what Confucius is saying is that just like children listening to their parents, we tend to have these kind of filters that pop up. Sometimes we do it consciously and sometimes we do it without even thinking. And also, in fact, I used to get really irritated when I was younger, going to college, being an engineer, and I'd be talking to a plumber, and the plumber says, "Wow, gosh, I learned what you're doing there in school. You never really learn it. You really got to, work with your hands, and you learn that way, by learning by doing." And, much to my, I really resented that statement because it just basically disqualified all of the school years that I've been listening to my teacher from kindergarten all the way up to the 4 years of college that I went to school. And so I desperately wanted him to be completely wrong regarding learning. Well, what I discovered after doing a great deal of research over the past, I'm 54 now, or 58, over the past 40 some odd years, is that research substantiates that when students listen to a lecture, they retain 5 to 10% if they're not distracted by cell phones and tablets of what the professor's speaking. But if they do project-based, where they're working with their hands like that plumber said, then they retain 50% of whatever they're learning. That's basically hands-on, very much like Confucius says, thousands of years ago. And then further research shows that when one student teaches another student how to learn, learning a subject, the student that's teaching retains 60% because he has to have a further mastering of the subject. 60%, which is 5 and 10 times more than listening to a lecture, which is typical in regular university courses as well as online universities as well. That's why what I've decided to do is use technology as it's best suited. For instance, when online education came into existence, people thinking in the old box that they needed to be in some kind of a space, like their study in their bedroom or at the library or at Starbucks or someplace else, to study online with their laptop. Well, with online and technology and mobility, with a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop that's connected to the internet, you could go down to the tidepools, study marine biology, go on a hike and study botany, biology, fauna, and all those things right from them. And technology is now becoming available where you can get inexpensive sensors that can attach through a micro or a mini USB port or through Wi-Fi connections with your cell phone, your tablets, and things of that nature, so that you can have a mobile biological lab, astronomy, just a whole lot of things. So you can basically take what would have cost lots of thousands of dollars with all the beakers and all the other things and basically do field work. Or go to the art museum with your cell phone and take pictures and movies and things of that nature and study art history and art appreciation. So you're having experiential education, which I truly believe shows that in the 50 to 60% experiential education. Very much, I always ask people, when you were in school, do you remember going on a field trip? And most everybody says yes, except a couple of ornery people, And I say, well, I bet you can remember everything that happened on the field trip. But I bet you can't remember what happened in class the day before or the day after. Wow. Okay. So I truly believe that experiential, the Socratic method, and project-based learning are the ways of the future, connected with online, with creative spaces, whether they be at tide pools, the art museum, a maker space, hacker space, the Hadron Collider, Grand Canyon. Basically, you can learn in every aspect as long as you're connected. Now, getting on to degrees. Now, people that are in the highly scarce fields where there's not as much talent as there's demand, such as technology, online, computer software, those kind of fields, you don't even need a degree. All you have to need is a good GitHub account where you're really active and you're writing great programming, and there's people lining up to give you jobs. Everything from small, simple website to develop for the business down the street or the organization, all the way up to the titans of industry such as Facebook and Google and things of that nature. Literally, I talk to computer software engineer people all the time, many without a degree. When I went to a Linux trade show where they gave me a free booth to show World Mentoring Academy. And they always said, I said, hey, I've got a course where you can get a bachelor's in computer science. They could care less about it. Okay. So let's get on to the real technician. I really don't believe in certifications, you know, letters of certification from Coursera and edX and all the others that are costing anywhere from $80 to $120, $150 for a letter that says you completed a course and are in good standing. I'd rather have you get university credits for $80 to the College Board's advanced placement and the CLEP exams from the College Board. Also, which is 34 subjects for CLEPs. Also, the federal government has a program called the Dantes, the DSSTs. They're hour-and-a-half tests, about $90. You go to a local Pearson study group for that, study center. And then there's NYU. You can take that at your local library, the librarian proctor's exam, that sends the exam to NYU. A friend of mine I told about got 16 units in Greek in 3 hours, which you could use for a degree, or you could use it for a professional certification that you're a translator and work, you know, right after you get the certificate. Anyway, let me talk about how one gets a bachelor's without, in an untraditional way. In 10 years from now, the ways that I'm describing will become mainstream. So I'm talking of the past up until another 4 or 5 years. Mainstream right now is you go to college, you spend 4.5 to 6 years and get yourself and spend about $100,000, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 or more. Your family takes a second on their home, you save up a lot of money, they start a college account when you were a child, or if you're not prepared for college, then you end up getting Pell Grants and Student Aid in the United States. Now let me talk to you about some ways that you can actually hack through your education. There's four ways of getting a college degree. There's going to the brick and mortar, which is what we just talked about, and spending that 4 to 6 years, or online through the Phoenix Online types of companies, or there's credit by examination, which I mentioned, the APs, the CLEPs, the NYU SCPS program, TECEP, yada, yada, yada. There's about several hundred courses that you can actually take an hour-and-a-half test, 2-hour test, and get college credit that are accepted in 2,900 universities or less. The third way is by challenging courses. Challenging courses is like this. If you go to a university or college, in the course catalog, you'll say macroeconomics, it'll say prerequisite statistics. Or it'll say next to it, or permission of instructor. Basically, that's called challenging a course. You have to find out what your university's challenge policy for different courses. Not all courses will they allow you to challenge. Basically, you say to the professor, I already know statistics. He gives you the final, and if you pass the final, or he interviews you, and you pass the interview, bingo, bango, you get the college credits. Now, that's challenging a course. You have to check your university if you intend on getting in debt. You know, I consider that old school. The fourth way is by life and work experiences and certifications. So, let's say, for instance, you worked as a basic accountant type of person. You could basically show that to the professors or the recruiters for the universities and say, I have X amount of years of doing this particular kind of job. And so they give you a test or the interview, and they say, there's no sense that you take a course over again since you could probably teach the class. That's called life and work experience, and that's existed for quite some time. Now, how can you use that with World Mentoring Academy? Well, let's say, for instance, you want to get a bachelor's in film. Now, what we do is we support your educational process and your credit by examination, and also your work and life experiences. And then we then pass that information, all that stuff, on to Thomas Edison State College out of New Jersey. Now, what you would do is this. You would go to a creative spaces. Let's say, for instance, if you wanted to do film, you would go to a public access station and volunteer. You can do that for free. And they will train you how to operate the cameras, how to do the lighting, the sound. They even edit stuff and work the editing bay and do all the teleprompting and maybe even be on in front of the camera. And you can basically get Studio 1 and 2 and follow a syllabus. You can also collaborate with filmmakers that are working on film and TV projects and work on the sets for them for free. And they might even give you a stipend of some kind or food. And once you get all that experience, you then go to that university, Thomas Edison, and say, look, I've worked for 6 months to a year on these particular shows. You show them your reel. And, any letters of recommendations from the producers and directors that you worked for. Anyway, that's enough for today. That's pretty lengthy. Just leave any comments below. Anything that you'd like me to answer regarding a career path that you're thinking about. You're just a young person or you're an older person who want to do a new course change. I am working 7 days a week from like 9 in the morning to say about 10 o'clock at night every single day, except when I go dancing, which is on a Friday and Saturday, and I work until, like for today, I'll work until about 6:30 p.m. from 8 in the morning to 6:30 every single day, hunting down